in New York City today. Dustin had some apartments that he needed me to shoot since he's under the weather, and so I came in to shoot those for him. I came here 2 days ago and shot 4 of them because I only had like 2 hours of daylight. But today I'm back with more time and just shot an apartment up here in, I don't know, 48th Street. It's next to Totto Ramen, who unfortunately closed their original location and now only has the bigger one, which at least it seems that way. I loved that place back in the day. I was just talking to Jerry about the first time I took him there and how magical he felt it was. It was the first ramen place that really changed my life. This is not what I was going to start this video about, but if you watched any of these, this is how it goes, so buckle up. Totto Ramen is in a little basement, was the original. Was like in a little step down basement with like counter and like 2 tables. And Jerry, I haven't been to Japan myself. I believe he has, and he's just like, it's straight out of Tokyo. That's exactly what it's like over there. And I fell in love with that place. I loved it so much more than like Ippudo, which was like the super famous ramen place back in the day, because Ippudo was huge. It was a chain from Japan, but Totto was like a little local joint, as far as I know. And fell in love with it. I'll throw some photos of it up here. Maybe a little montage. So I've been wanting to make more vlogs, and I shoot these all the time and I never post them, and like, so I need to find the time to edit them. There's a cool looking chair up here that I'm not going to take a photo of. It's like this barber chair. And on Wednesday when I came, I brought my gimbal and my microphone, and today I didn't use them all day, so I was just like, I'm not going to carry it again. Neighborhood park. I love these. I love these little community gardens. This one's got some nice Japanese elements. We got some cool these like pine trees, and this is really nice. Anyway, today's mission is to go down to Brooklyn. So got some stuff in Bed-Stuy and Bushwick, and we're gonna shoot some apartments down there. There's another one in Harlem, which I'll try to get to on the way back, depending on how much daylight I have left. It's the problem with winter shoots and the sun going down at like 4:30. There's not a lot of time to get everything done, especially if I don't get up at like 4 in the morning, like I did. Didn't get up so early today. Anyway, it's fun to be here. And you know, I've thought about not sharing any of this stuff because I'm like, this isn't gonna get me the high-end architecture work that I'm striving to do. But I still enjoy this. It's still fun to come to New York City and walk around and shoot an apartment and know that like I can do the work in 5 minutes and be done with it. And so, you know, there's a place for real estate photography, and some of these places are really nice. Like the one I shot yesterday was one of the nicer apartments, like rental apartments I've ever been in, that had these like really nice cabinets, panels on the refrigerators, panel on the washing machine, dishwasher. And anyway, I'll throw a photo of that up here so you can see. I really liked it, so I spent a few more minutes making some nicer photos of it. Like nothing that's ever going to make it in my portfolio, but we'll share it here, and there we go. That's a use for it. And that's the thing that I look for in these luxury apartments because of my experience shooting high-end kitchens. You know, most of these are like budget versions of that, which are like pretty shitty in build quality. And it was interesting to see the ones where it's like actually pretty nice. They are very rare. And so I'm excited when they actually put some effort into making the place nice. I tend to be a little disappointed with all of the footage and stuff that I make here because I'm always like, I could be so much better, and like I never put it out as a result of that. But you know, there's the saying that done is better than perfect, and like nobody is judging this the way that I am, right? Like there are no rules about what a video that I make has to be, right? There's my ideas of what it should be, what I would like for it to be, but like it's just me. It's the same with when I'm editing a photo and there's this little bitty thing that I see in there and I was like, I gotta get that fixed, that no one will ever see, ever. No one will ever zoom in on the image as much as I do. And it's funny, I just had this experience recently where like, okay, I look at Mike Kelly's photos that he posts on Instagram and they're just like gorgeous and immaculate, right? And I'm like, my photos are never gonna be that good. And, you know, I have photos that I worked on the most recent example is the house that I shot in Ottawa, the big mansion that my client just posted the other day. And so I saw the photo objectively months after I shot it, and I'm like, it looks great. Like, it looks nice. I want it to be a little bit better, but like, I'm sure that objectively, to anybody else who's looking at it, the photo is fantastic, right? It's just, I look at it and I'm like, I could have done so much more. But I think I'll always do that with every photo. And like, I think that's a feeling that like never really goes away. Maybe not. You know, maybe there are some like bangers where I'm just like, this photo's perfect and I don't have to touch it again. But I think the getting there with the photos that I'm on helps me move on to the next better photo. But you know, there's this real struggle to like appreciate it for how good it actually is, rather than just being like, everything is wrong with this image. So now I'm in Bed-Stuy. Just got out Kingston through PC, and I'm looking around, and you know, it's fun to be in New York City, but so much of this is familiar territory for me. Like, I've been to all these places 1,000 times, and they're a little different, which is nice, but they're the same in a lot of the ways. And I really just want to visit somewhere new. I want to explore a new city, and I've been to Philadelphia a little bit. It's nearby. I haven't really like gone there just to wander around, but that would be fun to do. And exploring Boston and Cambridge was a lot of fun when I did that earlier this year. I went to Ottawa, but I didn't really explore much because it was all wildfires outside and I didn't want to breathe wildfire smoke. So not much getting out and wandering while I was there. But I think I want to go to Tokyo the most as far as any city I want to go explore. But that's going to be save up quite a bit of money to pay for all that. So that's a long ways off, unless, you know, some huge jobs come in soon, which I'm working on. You know, I'm trying to meet people and do new work. And but you know, it's not going to happen tomorrow. And you know, I also like, unless I could take my whole family, I don't really want to go spend like 2 weeks in Tokyo, or you know, because I feel like 1 week is too little. Maybe not, but anyway, I don't really want to be away from my family for that long. We'll be at home. So like, now is the time to just be and shoot stuff around here and make some money and wait for that a good time to go on that sort of trip. But yeah, it's, in the meantime, it is still nice and exciting and energizing to come to New York City. And it's nice that it's so easy to get here. And it's nice that I don't live here also, because it makes it so fresh every time that I come. I get to go back to my house and walk around my yard. It's quiet and stuff, so overall life's pretty good. This is really cool. There's this whole like church complex with all these like beautiful old stone buildings here. It's awesome that stuff like this is still around. So I'm shooting this little bitty room, right? Like, it's clearly you could fit like a twin, maybe a full bed in here, right? So it's not the peak of luxury, but the light is so gorgeous. Like, the way that the sun is coming through the trees and the fire escape here and creating this beautiful pattern here, and then that light bounces back across, catches the radiator pipe here, and then that splits into two shadows going towards the wall back here. Oh my God, it's so nice. And like, that's my favorite part of doing this, is seeing this just like absolute beauty in these like space that one could argue is mundane, right? Like, it's just an apartment in New York, but every once in a while I get something like this and I'm able to get an image that I'm really happy with, that like no way is the agent gonna use, right? But I should submit it anyway and just be like, hey, I took some art while I was there. But I love it. So a lot of people would argue that this is like not much of a view. It's like, oh, there's a fire escape outside. But like, the person that lives in this room is going to love this. Like, it's a beautiful little place where you can go out and sit, like just enough space, you can put some plants, but the view of all these trees and the fire escape itself is just so New York, you know? Like, there is a charm to this because it is not like this in other places. And like, yeah, it's not the high-rise view of the skyline, but I remember my view from our apartment in the kitchen, looking out into the like courtyard where it's just a brick building. It's just the interior courtyard of a big building. But just looking out at those bricks was so nice. And so the last unit that I was in up in Manhattan, it had this view of this tiny little air shaft, but it was brick walls around. And like, someone is going to love that. And it's easy to overlook that when I'm here taking these photos where I'm just like, these real estate photos where it's just like, okay, the agents just want them big and bright, right? But the person that actually lives there is gonna find some stuff to fall in love with. And I feel like that should be conveyed in the images. I think that's the most important part. I think it's showing like, hey, it's a place, you know, but there's magic here. And the real wonder of being here is in that magic that isn't anywhere else. And there's this funny little warren of hallways in this place. Like this is the split hallway to go into these rooms. And then over here is the bathroom. But then there's this little corner right here. That's, I don't know, do you put your altar there? Do you set up your little keyboard and this is your little music space? Do you have a really tiny desk that you work right here in this little corner? I guess anything's possible. Speaking of city views, here's one on the 7th floor, also in Bed-Stuy. And we got little peaks of some skyscrapers. There's, you can kind of see the Chrysler building right there. That's not gonna work. And I think the Empire State Building is just poking out right there. And there's some other new building right there. I don't know what any of these new buildings are, but you know, you can see them from here. So if that's your jam, then this is the place for you. Oh my Lord, look at this. There's this whole mural that somebody painted in here. This must be like the highest point in the building. This is an old church, I'm pretty sure. The St. Mark's is the name of the building. Yeah, this must be the highest. We're up in the tower. And there's a view of some skyscrapers over somewhere. There they are. And there's views out here. I kind of like that over in this direction. We got a dude over here. There's a forest out there, which I think might be Forest Hills Park. We're part of like the area that I used to, where the Ridgewood Reservoir is probably. And that's kind of where I used to live and where I used to play. So it's fun to be able to see that from here. This thing is nutty. The rest of this unit's pretty wild too. There's just like all these staircases. This apartment's like 3 floors. And this is what's surprising is I open this door that's in the hallway and it's just like the building guts. So direct access, they're not trying to keep you out or anything. But then this has this beautiful like concrete wall here. Neat shape of the windows. Beautiful sunset-y views. Staircase with no lights. So surprise, surprise on that. Oh, let me not fall and die. And there's this cool brickwork right here. It's funny, I shot this building when they first opened it and we had like showrooms and stuff in it, but I don't remember shooting this unit. And so, I mean, it's a wacky one for sure, where like this is the living room and this is bedroom over here with this like slant to it. But there's little bits of brick sticking out. There's lots of beautiful light. I mean, look at this. Look at how beautiful this is. And they're just like, not a lot of places with this kind of detail. But downside, of course, is like, this is your kitchen. Back in this little like, you know, unpleasant little corner. And the bathroom's back here. And there's nothing special about it. So, It's all about the space and not much else. But what a place it is. Yeah, so here it is from outside. You can see that's the tower unit right there with, I guess that's a bell tower up top. I assume that's what that would be. Maybe I could have gone in that shaft and found out. Now that I'm reviewing the photos, I wish I would have taken one straight facing this wall without the flash and only had the daylight coming in and hitting the bricks. That would have been real nice. I didn't think to take it because I was just like, let me get my real estate shot. But now that I'm making this vlog for you and thinking about photos that are more beautiful that I would have liked to shoot, that would have been really nice. Like just the dark shapes of this with the light coming across the bricks here. That would have been great. So after I finished up there, I headed home. I took a few photos on the way, and I'm going to save those for another video because editing them now would slow me down in getting this video published, and I don't want to do that. But here are a couple scenes that I shot while I was out shooting some of those other apartments. This one was in the back of a pretty dumpy basement apartment, and it looks totally like dark and dystopian. I kind of enjoy that some of the places are like that, you know, there are some really nice units, and there are some that are like a little grimy, and it runs the gamut. And this is like, you know, I didn't submit this photo like this. The one that I sent the agent is a lot brighter than this, but I really love this like moody, just like dark and gritty, and it's like it really looks like that. Like it does. Like it's maybe a little brighter during the day, but like, you know, I've watched a bunch of cyberpunk and sci-fi stuff, and I'm really drawn to photos like this, and so I make them where I can. And you know, I don't know anybody that would like show this and be like, hey, this apartment's for rent, but I love the vibe, and so still gonna shoot it. And then here's a balcony from another apartment that I shot, and again, not the image that I delivered to the client because I don't know that they would go for a shot this dark and moody. But this is what I'm always drawn to shooting when I happen to be like on a balcony at twilight, especially like I've got a thing for sconces, and so I really love the sconce here, and I did a little radial filter to brighten up the light coming out of that sconce, because I feel like this is the feeling that you would get when you're out there, and that's what I want to convey in the imagery. And finally, this other shot is I was walking between some apartments here, and this just caught my eye. This light on this garage here, again, fits that sort of dystopian vibe that I'm really into. And this one's actually pretty heavily edited. It was pretty flat in real life, and I darkened it down, put a radial filter over where the light is hitting the garage there. And then I tried out the new like AI lens blur in Lightroom. And so the back left side of this image is all like artificially bokeh, because the lens that I shot it on is like a 16 to 35 f4, and this was at f4, but it was all still pretty sharp. Like it doesn't really produce that much bokeh even at 35 millimeters f4. But this was kind of fun to add that, and I like the vibe that I ended up with here after crunching this down a little bit. So that's it for now. I'm going to leave you with this scene after I went home, rode the train home, and I was waiting at the train station for Regina to come pick me up. And I just missed, because I wasn't ready to shoot it, but the Acela came by, which goes like 150 miles an hour, and it just like slams through the station. It is like kind of intense to experience. But what was funny is that came by, and then the Northeast Regional Amtrak came by in the opposite direction, and a New Jersey Transit train arrived at the same time. So there were these three trains just like slamming through the station, and it was like pretty frenetic, but I missed it. And I was like, I'll be ready. And then this train flew through. So here you go. See you later.